We should do a bloopers thing, right?
No. Okay. So it's 2 o'clock. We'll go ahead and get started. Thanks to everybody who made it to our YouTube training today. So this is our first time doing this on YouTube. And before, we've always done this, at the center. But we've always kind of had trouble getting people to participate. So we thought this time, let's make it as convenient as possible. And what's more convenient than the internet, right? YouTube. So this is what we're doing. But if you like it, if you don't like it, this is kind of an experimental thing. Let us know what you think, if you like it this way, if you don't. And we'll definitely take all of that into consideration for next time. Okay, so I wanted to go into kind of the composition of the volunteer cadre. Earlier this year, we did a recruitment campaign. We did the volunteer recruitment branch, and we were really kind of heavily asking volunteers from all the branches and all that. And we were doing that because we found that in our volunteer cadre, one of our biggest challenges was volunteer coverage. And because of the recruitment campaign, we have now, filled almost every time slot. We are so thankful because we are hardly ever hurting for volunteers anymore, which was kind of the goal of the whole thing. So thank you guys for, getting your friends out and your coworkers out and just asking everyone to join the team. So because we've kind of resolved the issue of volunteer coverage, we are able to focus a lot more on volunteer development and kind of identifying volunteer leaders within the cadre. So one of the goals of our volunteer recruitment was we wanted to diversify our talent pool. And I feel like we've, recently recruited a lot of volunteers with just different types of talent, from crafting to baking to fine arts to sports, gaming, everything. So because we've done that already, we're just going to focus on kind of developing everybody and your talents. So on the lookout for a lot of volunteer leaders out there. And if you're wanting to do some kind of program with us, we've already kind of started getting participants or volunteers who come up to me and say, why don't we do this kind of program? Why don't we do this kind of event? And, we'll make it happen, and we'll, look at our budgets and resources, and we'll see what we can do. So that's kind of how this thing works. But if you're interested in some kind of leadership position, or if you want to take a lead on any of our programs, or even things here at the center, like if you want to be a key closer, if you want to be the king of the pantry and organize the whole thing for us, let us know, and we will definitely recognize you for those kind of things. Yeah, opening and closing. We'll give you a key. We'll have you lead one of our donation drives. Lots of opportunities there. And side note, that's going to look really good on your advancement packets, right? Okay, so now that we've talked about volunteer leaders, let's go a little bit more into volunteer recognition. A lot of you may not be aware that we recently had a program called the Mission Awards roll out last June. And this is a really great recognition program that I feel like we're not really capitalizing on. The Mission Awards is not just staff nominated like the VOQ or Volunteer of the Quarter, Volunteer of the Year. It's peer nominated. So you guys have the opportunity to nominate your peers, other volunteers, for this award. So if you see other people doing awesome things here at the USO and maybe the staff are not seeing it, nominate them yourselves. Tell us why they deserve that award. If you have any questions on how to do that, how to nominate someone, let me know, let Kenji or Vic know, and we will help you guys out. And then finally, I'm going to talk a little bit about the flex team because that's what a lot of people have been asking me about. So, oops, sorry, my phone. So the flex team is a team of people who don't necessarily have an assigned schedule. And we made the flex team because, again, we were struggling to kind of fill a lot of these slots where someone would call out or they would be on leave or something like that. We would need someone for just a certain period of time. So we knew that we needed to put a little bit more flexibility in the scheduling for volunteers. So we have the flex team who just kind of goes in and they pick whatever shifts work with their schedule. So essentially, they're in charge of their own schedules, and we're not giving them, assigning them a schedule every week. The stipulation there is that the flex team should be picking up one shift at least every week. So but you get to pick your own, whichever one you want.
Friday nights.
Kenji's favorite shift. Yeah, so I'll let these two talk next. Go ahead, Ken.
All right, I'll be talking about the center policies. First policy I would like to bring up is underage guests. Anyone who is under 18 years old without a parent or a guardian was also sneaking in the center. So I asked all the volunteers to just keep an eye on the ID. So if an ID looks like this, their date of birth would be on the top right corner where my finger would be. And if you have a hard time trying to figure if they're 18 or over, at the front desk, there will be a paper with the year and date. And if they're over that date, then they are 18 and over. So that will help us out a lot on accepting 18-year-old and above guests and not having minors come in, especially after high school hours, 1 o'clock. I saw a couple of teenagers coming in with a dependent's ID card, and they were minors. Okay.
And why are minors not allowed here?
Minors are not allowed because personal experience. We had CPS get involved with a minor and a parent, and to prevent any liabilities in the future, we had minors come in with their parent or guardian for that purpose. Okay? And also, if there's a minor coming in without a guardian or parent, and if there's anything that happened to the minor because of our service members, we could be 100% liable for the incident. So stay away from any court junction or anything like that, legalities. We'll keep it simple. 18 and above would be the allowed guest. Okay. Next policy I would like to talk about is personal game consoles and laptops connected to our system. What happened is a lot of the times our system is slow. We know that. We try to improve it every day. But at the same time, they have guests with their own consoles. They'll unplug our cables and either break the tabs, take the wires, and do all kinds of funny stuff. And when they leave, we end up trying to figure out what happened to the cable box, the TV setup, and the following guests would be having a hard time trying to watch cable TVs or shows that they were used to watching. Okay? And also, we had 4 Apple Pods, Apple TVs displayed at one point. They also went missing. So we also stopped people from connecting to our system because when they do disconnect, they kind of take our stuff with them. Okay? Laptops, on the computer desktop area. Again, we have seen broken tabs that loosens the connection of the backside of the desktop, which uh, have a hard time connecting for guest users. Okay, so that's the reason why we don't allow the personal console, game consoles, or personal laptops connected to our system. Okay. I know a lot of volunteers know about this, but you have to be actively just being on the lookout just to make sure that the center is taken care of. Because without you guys, the center would be not running efficiently as it is now. Okay, thank you guys for that. I'll be also talking about the curtains at the gazebo and the kids room. Make sure that the gazebos are not closed up for safety reasons. We have to be able to see in and out at all times. And for the kids room, I do have seen couples in the kids' playhouse with the curtains down, and there's kids playing outside. So with the curtains rolled up at all times, we'll be able to monitor more efficiently on who's playing in the kids' playhouse, as well as any adults maybe performing inappropriate activities. Okay? It's just for precautionary steps that we would like the zero curtains and the playhouse curtains to be rolled up and visible at all times. Okay. The second center policy I would like to talk about is alcohol. A lot of the guests coming in, especially the service members from a ship, they will not know the policies of the USO. So all our volunteers uh, should be aware of the no alcohol beverage or consuming alcohol beverages at the USO, in the USO at all times. And this is to include drugs, tobacco products, and to include chewing tobaccos. Okay, I've seen too many times where they have a spit bottle, they'll be chewing, doing whatever they're doing in the back area. At the end of the shift, I have volunteers picking up these chew bottles, and we have to dispose of them. So chewing tobacco is also not allowed. Okay? Uh, if we encounter a guest who is upset for not being able to consume alcohol, just let us know. Maryanne or Vic will help you situate the incident before it escalates. Okay? Uh, Other than that, you guys are doing a good job. And let me talk about my last topic, which is logging in hours. I've seen a couple of volunteers double logging their hours. And before I can approve them, I have to make sure the schedule, volunteer schedule is posted for the schedule they're coming in for. And then I also see additional hours for the same day, making it a double posting. So if you already have a schedule registered, then you don't have to add more hours to your shift for that day. They'll automatically go pending the following day for us to approve. Okay. So if you have any questions on how to log hours, or if you have hours that was not approved, come see us and we can help you out. Okay. Well, that's it for me. Thank you very much. And I'm going to turn it over to Vic.
All right. Well, again, thanks to everyone that's logged in, and we're hoping for your engagement, questions and answers, questions later on. Hopefully, we get some of those based on what Maryanne and Kenji had mentioned. So, also like to thank Maryanne for being techie and her innovative way of presenting this today. This is new to us. We're the first ones, I believe, to conduct this type of training. And hopefully, it looks like there's many of you that's logged in right now. And it's really that's really great to see.
Thanks for everyone who came
Yes.
to our training.
Yeah, we know that it's hard to get you all here all at once in a schedule. Whenever we do try to get everyone over, I understand that we all have our commitments during those times and we all have our schedules. And this, it looks like the way I see it right now with people logging in, that's awesome. I hope that this will work out for all of our teams. I just want to touch a little bit more on regarding the what Maryanne and Kenji mentioned regarding the schedule, our hours, our volunteer coverage. So we've done a little bit of tweaking as far as our center hours. If you notice that we now close 9 o'clock, and thanks to our upper management, we got the approval for closing the center at 9 o'clock, simply because between 9 and 10, based on the data that we've collected, there's only one or two that comes in between those times. So it wasn't efficient for us to continue that operation. And I think and we think that it's more efficient for Kenji to come in earlier and close the center earlier. And we are able to, and the same thing with Maryanne, we're able to close the gap in the hours and minimize volunteer coverage during critical hours of the day. So I just wanted to mention that part of it. So briefly, I just want to talk to you about my main concern is safety and security. So first of all, we have a panic button at the front desk, and from time to time, our volunteers that are at the front desk may accidentally hit the button, and automatically I will get a phone call. So the panic button is used for total emergency at the center. This is where when that happens, once the button is pressed, it goes directly to security. They will give it a few minutes. If we don't turn that off, they will call the Guam police. Uh, so we have to make sure that we turn that button off within a minute. I believe it's about a minute. So be careful with the front desk. I know it's underneath the counter there. Um, so again, that button is used for emergencies, such as in a situation where we have a active shooter. So and what we do during those times would be complete lockdown of the center. Complete lockdown. Everyone moves to the back, lock down the center. Uh, that's the first and foremost. If you hear, once we hear that there is an active shooter around, um, it's an automatic lockdown. And then from that point on, the law enforcement should be contacted already by that time.
Also, in addition to the panic button, if a kid accidentally presses it, there's a key to the left of the box. Take that key, insert it from the bottom, and you can deactivate it. And at the same time, after you deactivate it, just call G4S just to inform the security company that it was a false alarm. So they do not activate the Guam Police Department.
That's right. But that's that for now. Other than for on my part, but we hope you have some questions for us.
You here.
And we'll try to answer your questions as much as possible.
So, what if a minor came in with someone who is not their guardians or parent, such as can minors have guests? So, if they're under 18, they have to be entering the USO with their parent or guardian. If it is not their parent or guardian, then they cannot come in. And then we also stipulate that if they're in high school but they're over 18 or 18 and over, they can come into the USO by themselves without a parent. And if they have a military ID, they can bring a guest in. That guest also has to be 18 and over. Hope that answers the question. The next one was the kid is out of control, running around. How do we approach the parent? I think Colleen and Noe have really great examples of this. So what I always do is when I'm at the front desk, I see guests coming in with children, I make sure while they're signing in on the iPad or something, ma'am, sir, you can take a minute to read the children's escort policy right here. And there's like a little sign on the front desk, and that outlines pretty much the whole escort policy for minors. And that way they're aware, and if they don't obey our policies, then we can always say, I asked you to read it at the front desk when you came in, so you can't say I didn't know.
I just want to add to that what Maryanne mentioned in regards to how we would approach the parents. So because this is very sensitive when it comes down to parents and their children, it's they get defensive at first, but the proper approach with the parent must be in place. A smile, a nice tone of voice to the parent, they will be very accepting.
Yeah, very just reasonable.
And if it's very hard for volunteers to approach the parent, just let us know and we'll be able to, more than happy to assist you.
Kenji is
Kenji's a pro.
He's a pro.
He's a
I've
pro
got
at
bad days and good
approaching
days,
everyone.
9 out of 10, it's a success, all right?
Okay. Any other questions out there? We're reading everything as it comes in. So, and then if anyone is late coming in, make sure you're typing in the chat box, letting us know that you're watching or listening, because that's how we're gonna identify who gets this awesome new shirt, which we have all sizes for, BT Dubs.
Yeah. Thank you to Noe, Joseph Dela Cruz, who's at
Who else is
Barbara
here?
Moore, Crystal, Andrew, and Colleen.
Who else is
Who else is
here?
here?
Gingerly is here. Hi. Alicia Shadow,
Alicia.
Kendra, Ray and Amanda, Sandra
Sandra,
is here.
Jennifer.
Jen, Wally, Patrick Brooks. Okay. All right. Any questions? Oh, Barbara has a great question. Scary talk about active shooter. Can we depend on staff to use the key to reverse the panic button?
Yes. Yes, there is that key that you would have to use to disengage or turn off the panic button within 1 minute.
Yes. But let's just, let's be clear. We want you guys to be careful, and we want to minimize the false alarms. But we definitely want you to use it if it indeed is an emergency. So if you feel threatened, if you, press the button when you need to, when you feel that you need to. That's what it's there for. But what we're saying is that there is a way for you to deactivate it when it is a false alarm. And it does happen. It's right under the counter. If we push something against it enough, it's gonna go off. Yeah. So, and we're bringing this up because Vic had mentioned just this month he had like 2 false alarms. So we're identifying that this is happening more than it needs to. So
There's a lot of stuff underneath the counter, so whenever they get moved around, sometimes that accidentally hits the panic button. questions?
All right, we have like, what is it, 2 minutes left. If anyone else has any questions, who just logged in? This is Mac. Is this Elliot Mac?
There's a way to know.
Is there a way to know the panic button has been pressed?
There is. You can tell by when you turn the key off, that automatically sends that signal over to G4S, and that it's been turned off, and then they will, and because you have 1 minute to turn that off, it will disengage.
If you're visually looking at the panic button, if it's depressed, you're looking at about a quarter inch to half inch depressed into the box. And if it's not deactivated, it'll be sticking out just a little bit of a quarter, 1/16 of an inch, left according to the box.
Yeah. We can always show you guys whenever you're here. Ask us about it when you're in the center. Are there any late weekend hours coming back?
Unfortunately, the hours are set based on our operation. As we mentioned, this is to alleviate the volunteer coverage on hours, critical hours that are really hard to cover. So by adjusting our hours to close earlier, we're able to bring in Maryanne and Kenji earlier in the day, and it's more productive for us all to do our operation and our work.
But I guess to kind of talk about the weekend hours also, this also ties into, this is a result of our overall human resources, which includes our volunteer coverage. So in the future, I mean, we're not married to the 8 to 9 hours. You know, we've changed it before. We could change it again, just depending on our need and our foot traffic, but also whoever is available. So in the future, if we find that we have volunteers who are strong enough to close on their own without any staff present, that it wouldn't, our staff coverage wouldn't suffer, and we have lead strong volunteers who could handle the whole thing backwards and forwards, then, if we could consider bringing the later hours back. But again, this we did a good amount of research to get to this point. But hey, man, we're ever evolving, right? So we can always change.
We have another question regarding a sign for a no alcoholic or tobacco usage. Vic, can we put up the sign just to inform? Yes.
Can we?
I think we could. So I have just ordered a place for these signage. We cannot be putting all these signage all over the center, but there is a decent place for it, and we'll come up with that. That's a good question. We will indicate that similar to the signage as far as the camera being utilized here at the center, that our guests are made aware of when they enter the center. So that's something we can add on to the signage. Thank you for that question.
Are we missing any other questions? Let's see.
You guys are awesome.
The USO requires a large poster sign or rules for guests to place by the entrance.
It's actually by the entrance. That's the question. Requires a large poster sign.
Yes. So actually, if you pay attention to our TVs in the front, the screen closest to the bistro that rotates all the volunteer pictures and stuff actually has a slide that has all of the USO's policies. So if you are ever kind of just like walking by there, that is our sign. Each question is not worth an hour. Gosh, really hustling for those volunteer hours, guys.
Yes, sir. We do not offer any more double hours
Yeah.
because of the reporting system that we have to comply with.
But there are some new opportunities for additional hours, like our donut pickups and tray drop-offs and doing our laundry, which is worth 2 hours. You wash our tablecloths and towels and stuff. So just get with us and let us know if you're interested in that kind of opportunity. Paula asked about sponsoring more than one guest. So every military ID can sponsor 18 and over, can sponsor one guest, one civilian guest, also 18 and over. There are no exceptions to this rule other than like sponsors coming in and asking to look at their signs or stuff like that, maintenance, those kind of things. But if they're coming in to enjoy our amenities, no, it's strictly one civilian guest per military ID holder.
We may go into a few minutes over our time, but I need to add one more item in as far as security is concerned. I think this has come up before. So we have law enforcement officers that come in with their weapons at the center. I think we need to inform all our volunteers to be aware of this. So if a law enforcement comes into the center as a guest, the weapon stays outside. Now, there's some exception, I believe, in where over at Anderson Air Force Base is. But for here at here in Tumon Bay, the only law enforcement that comes into the center is if they have business. If there's for some reason there's something similar to the G4S that comes in here to that escorts the bank personnel to replenish the ATM. They have a business here. They are not sitting down as a guest. This has been we've had this a few times already. So just in case you all run into something like that.
Okay, so 2 more questions and then we have to end this video. Okay, so there can sorry, I need to speak. 1 guest per day. Yes, so they can sponsor 1 guest, 1 civilian guest. If they leave and that service member brings in another guest, I mean, totally fine, but they have only 1 guest that they can bring in at a time. So, yeah, you take it that way. But, okay, Patrick Brooks asked, I'm starting to like doing opening shifts. Yay. How do I become a trusted volunteer to open up at the start of a day? Oh, you want a key? This is your, this is,
Key opener.
yeah, this is your guy. He'll give you the keys. All right. So thank you guys again. I know we went a little over our time, but I think it was really good because this was really engaging for everybody. So if you have any other questions, our email addresses are all in the details of this video. So shoot us an email. Let us know if you like this video training. If you don't like it, you want to see everyone like here again, and let us know anything really. And then get with Vic if you are interested in being a key closer or a key opener. Me for programs, any of your ideas and stuff, and then Kenji for everything else. All right. Thank you guys again. Have a good Sunday.
All right,
Thank you.
All right. Bye. COVID.